to this episode.
Episode 20.
Episode 20. We are here. I'm Olga. This is Colin. We are here to talk about music, new releases, music news, etc.
And first, we're going to start it off with NOFX news. The band says they are retiring Linoleum, and to commemorate their murdering of the song or putting it out to Pasture, they wrote another song called Linoleum, which is nearly identical music with new words explaining why they are no longer going to play Linoleum. Linoleum is I would say their best song. Well, it's my favorite one of their songs. I think it's the vast majority of everybody's favorite NOFX song. So what do you think about that?
I'm not happy about it. I like Linoleum. It is like a really fun song to listen to on walks or whatever, because that's what I do now in quarantine. It's a really fun song. So I'm really bummed about that. I'm excited that they worked with Avenged Sevenfold on the video, because that's another band I like. And it's like really weird to me that they are friends now, because I don't know, it always happens to me. Whatever stuff I'm into, everybody whose art or creative work I enjoy always becomes friends. And I'm like, it's just always amusing to me. So even though Avenged Sevenfold and NOFX don't play at all similar types of music, but now they're like collaborating. And, you know, Avenged Sevenfold was at Weekend at Fatty's when he had that stream. And then I'm trying to figure out, like, how did they become friends?
Well, I think it was Avenged Sevenfold. They used to be in the screamo scene before they became in like the mainstream rock scene like they are now. But they played Warped Tour a bunch of times, as I recall. Didn't we used to see them at like Warped Tour and Punk?
They have.
And I'm sure they played together, because NOFX used to play every other Warped Tour way back then. So I imagine they just made friends with them during those years.
I don't think so, because recently Fat Mike posted that a couple of months ago, he went golfing with them, but it was like new, like, haha, we're hanging out. Also, that's when like NOFX would make fun of bands like that. Like one year they dressed up like AFI, and they dressed up all in black, and like they would constantly make fun of kind of like more, you know, like emo or screamo type of bands. But I have another theory is, so the drummer for Avenged Sevenfold is the old Bad Religion drummer.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, because back in the day, Avenged Sevenfold had another drummer, but he died, and they've replaced him several. They haven't replaced him. They've had several drummers since.
Yes, correct. And now they have a drummer from that was in Bad Religion, which is also so amusing to me that like. It's just, that's not what I would think somebody would do. I don't know. It's surprising, but it's like cool too. But yeah, I don't know if that's their connection, but I'm going to get to the bottom of this friendship and how it started. That's my new hobby.
I mean, I understand bands get sick of playing songs. I remember even when I was a kid, hearing stories about Led Zeppelin wouldn't play Stairway to Heaven anymore. I remember Nirvana hated playing Smells Like Teen Spirit so much that Kurt Cobain wrote Rape Me, because it had a similar chord progression. So it was just a way to replace that song with another song that sounded like it without having to play the exact same song. And even in our band, there's songs where I don't want to play because it's, oh, that's too hard, I have to think too much, or this song is hard to sing. I mean, there's always these reasons.
Thrice retired Deadbolt a while ago, and that's their most requested song. Like they have merch. They have merch that references it, or I think they have a shirt that says like I've seen Thrice play Deadbolt 4,000 times or something, because it's like every song they play, between songs, people are screaming out Deadbolt, requesting it. So this is what our favorite bands do, is they do not want to give us the one thing everybody wants.
It's so funny. But for Linoleum specifically, it's a short song.
It is a short song.
It's not like you're up there for 4 minutes playing some song that you hate. It's, a minute and a half or whatever it is. It's pretty quick, but whatever. I complain. I can complain about anything.
But yeah, I'm bummed about it. It's fun to watch NOFX play Linoleum, so I'm bummed I'll never see it again. But I hope that they'll just bring it back. There's always a special show. There's always a circumstance. Don't take the first offer, people. If they say it's retired, you say bring it back from retirement.
They're just saving it for later when they bring it back, and then it's a big deal, and then we'll talk about how it's a big deal for them bringing it back from the dead. Something like that.
Ooh. Can't wait. But also the lyrics and stuff, it was really amusing that he talks about at the end of the song about his daughter reading their book and how she knows everything now, and she knows all, like, that he does drugs and that he's kinky and that he drinks pee.
Yeah, and that was the thing that he was concerned with, the drinking of the pee.
Yeah, but not that there's something wrong with it, he adds. But you had to have known that she's going to know this, because you're not even secretive about it. Like, it would be different that if you have this whole secret life and you're not talking about it every time you play a show, in your book, in your songs, on stage. Like, everybody knows. If they're at all interested what Fat Mike is into, it is like very available.
As far as children go, Fat Mike's a celebrity, and I just feel like there's a different standard for celebrities than regular people.
Correct.
And so she knows celebrities and famous musicians because she's probably hanging out with them. So it's not the same as hanging out in the suburbs or whatever, dealing with your loser drug daddy. This instead is like my rich and famous drug daddy. So you get a pass. Even though you do the same stuff, you get a pass for it.
Yeah. I mean,
normal people go to jail. Normal people go to jail. They throw their life down the crapper. There's like all these problems. But then if you're a rich and famous musician, it's like, it's all part of the gig. No problem.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. All celebrities' kids, there's pictures of your parents naked. There's footage of them. There's all kinds of stuff. So it's like, that's what it is. I mean, it must suck. It must be weird, but not something I have any experience with.
Yep. All right. Now you mentioned
and then,
rescheduled dates.
So I was trying to see what's going on, because I get this email, I think this week, and they're like, buy tickets for Circus Survive. And I'm like, what? And so I click the email, and it's for, I'm in Bay Area, so it's for Northern California, and they're selling tickets for 2022. And I'm like, I am not buying tickets for 2022, because I'm just tired of being disappointed and having to try to get my money back from all these tickets. Like, I will buy tickets for 2022 when it's, closer to 2022. I'm not convinced we're all even going to live that long at this point. But then I started to dig it up really quickly, and I was like, what else is rescheduled? And I found that there's a whole list on Billboard of all these rescheduled festival dates. And the only one that was kind of relevant to me was Bikini Kill is rescheduled their tour for 2021. And then there's a bunch of like Celine Dion and Queen and like a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to go see anyways. But I'm like, are shows sort of back, or are we back to sort of thinking we might have shows again? Apparently,
so you're telling me that 2022 shows are being booked, but also 2021 tours are on the burner. Like they might be happening. Bikini Kill is playing. Theoretically, they'd be playing in 2021.
Yeah, and that's for September, November, which I guess is not too crazy optimistic, because that's supposedly when the experts are saying we might have festivals or group events again. So
I see the little info paragraph says Bikini Kill playing one show in Oakland on July 10th, which I can't even imagine that, unless that was July 10th of last year, and that's just the original.
Was supposed to be. Yeah, they must. I think that was because I was supposed to go. I wanted to go to it last year in July, so I think that was part of that festival, the Burger Boogaloo.
Yeah,
they were supposed to play one of those days. So I don't know. Hopefully they still come to Bay Area in their new rescheduled tour, which I also hope is actually does happen.
Yeah, so. I was hoping for a Warp Tour to get the vaccine and then go to Warp Tour.
I think you mean Comfort Bowling.
Bowling, gee whiz. It's like the same thing to me in my brain at this point. I thought, I'll be going because I'll have the vaccine by then and all that. And now I'm like, Nah, probably not actually, because it's going so slow. So when you said 2022, it actually made sense to me because 2021, I don't think stuff's open yet. Still in the early stages, but man,
it's gonna be so weird to go to like your first show post COVID.
I think it's gonna be people are going to be going crazy. People won't remember how to behave properly, and they're just going to drink way too much, way too soon. You're going to get to the venue, and you're going to have your first drink, very quickly, and then you just won't remember how to pace yourself for a 5-hour concert. And
no one will make it to the headliner except straight edge people. It's going to be like 10 straight edge people watching the show alone because the rest of us are going to be passed out. You're right.
Yep, people are going to be throwing up. I just know it.
Yep. And nobody's in shape for it. Like, you have to stand for hours. Like, I'm not used to standing for hours anymore. I'm going to be sitting.
I'm going to be sitting in an indoor venue on the ground on a dirty, nasty concrete floor, passed out. I can see it happening now. I'm going to have to prepare.
I'm going to have to invent a training program for standing. Okay, months leading up to our first concert, we're all gonna have to train. I'm gonna every day it'll be like stand for 10 minutes, then it'll be like stand for 12 minutes, and like we're gonna have to work our way up.
I'm thinking I might not be able to go a whole show. I'm gonna have to work up to it. I'm like, this show I'm gonna have to miss the first 2 bands because I don't have the stamina, and I'll slowly go earlier and earlier to catch more stuff. But it might just be I go for the headliner for the first couple shows. That's not my style, but
can we bring crutches just in case?
Yeah,
just like buy them just in case.
Or my robe, because I've been wearing a robe every day for months now.
Oh, so you're just show up in robe and crutches? That won't be weird at all.
Get my chair with my butt pad that I sit on now all day long.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be crazy.
It will be. And well, speaking of crazy stuff. Earth's John Schaffer arrested following the Capitol raid. I think there's footage of him breaking into the Capitol building. What the heck is going on, man? What are you thinking?
I am thinking no longer surprised by things, obviously. Also, obviously, a lot of metal bands pretty conservative, so this isn't surprising. But it is kind of weird. It's just, I mean, I think there's going to be a whole new scene of these bands that we keep every week. There's somebody who's, announces that they're a white supremacist or whatever. Man. And apparently there's probably going to be a whole scene of these bands at the rate we're going because there's a new one every week.
I'm thinking there already is a scene of these bands. I like this.
There's probably, I just don't bands like I'm not into
insanity.
So.
I guess it's one thing to go protesting something. It's another to break into a Capitol building. I just feel like the guy could have been shot and killed. And I would be like, well, you did break into the Capitol building and threaten people's lives. Isn't that good enough to get shot for? Like, there's sometimes people get shot on accident and it's not a good thing, obviously. But I'm thinking if you storm the Capitol with weapons and chanting we're going to go kill someone, then at that point the cops have open season to just mow you down. And I would have a hard time not thinking that's I don't know. That's weird. I don't know what to do. I just think that shoot.
I mean, who knows who else was involved? There's still probably people who haven't identified or who are planning it. Like, we don't know. It's crazy. So it's just,
Well, in better news, Lars Fredriksen's working on a new album.
Yeah,
so that's good. We and Lars go back way back when.
Had one.
Yeah, well, during the Lars and the Bastards days, the first Lars Fredriksen and the Bastards. Remember, we hung out with Lars and he yelled at us. That was fun.
Yep. That's our claim to fame. All of my friends are always like, "Oh, I've met Lars and he was really cool," and I'm like, I'm really scared of him because he yelled at me that one time.
Yeah, real quick. We were on the PR team for a magazine, and we put up a sign of the magazine on the stage so it would show the magazine's name. And he saw us putting it up, and he freaked out. and just started yelling at us to get the sign down. And it was, like, nope. I just felt like it was way too much too quick, the escalation of anger. Because it would have been just like, hey, can you go take that sign down? I don't like it. And I would have been perfectly fine to take it down because I do not care. But it was like level 9 yelling to get that sign down. And it's caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have never tried to talk to him since.
That was probably the angriest a musician has ever been at me in my life.
Yeah, same. It was like we just did something terrible, and it was like it escalated very quickly.
Like, we're just trying to promote your show, man.
No problem. I mean, I'm sure he was just like stressed about his show, and maybe he's a bit of a perfectionist. I don't know. Like
to his credit, I did see him being extremely nice to other fans.
Yeah, except us. Yeah, he was so nice to everybody else.
Because he was very it was playing at like a vet's hall. It was a very small concert, and he was just chilling with everybody like he was a regular dude or whatever. Totally fine, getting along with everybody except us. So that's
and it was just such a memorable experience because we were just getting into punk. That was one of our first shows, and it was like, oh my god, it was great.
Yeah,
but never will forget that one.
Well, we'll see how his new material is. I think his first solo album, the first Lars Fredriksen and the Bastards album, I like that one a lot. So I'm interested to see what happens. That'll be something to look forward to, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in the months ahead. And then
it looks like we're having some releases this year already that are exciting. So that's cool, and more upcoming ones. So yay for that. There's
going to be a Lookout Zoomout featuring former Lookout artists. I thought that was interesting because Lookout Records, they kind of went bankrupt. They stopped paying their bands, and they gave the bands back their albums, a lot of them, which hardly ever happens. So, I mean, I guess to their credit, they didn't sell the rights to other bands' music to get out of their bankruptcy or whatever. As I understand, it's like a band by band complicated situation, because Green Day, they were owed a lot more money than the Donnas, we'll say. But Green Day was able to get their albums eventually and re-release them on Reprise or whatever. The Donnas, I don't think they ever re-released their stuff anywhere. And then neither of those two bands are playing this show anyway, which I think of them as the big bands from Lookout.
That's exactly who I'd be the most excited.
So
I was thinking the Donnas would have to be there.
It's going to be more of the pop punk stuff from what I understand. It'll be Mr. T Experience, the Queers, Cub, Pansy Division, Smugglers, and so it's like
so that's
they're classic Lookout.
Still an exciting lineup.
They're classic Lookout bands, but they're just like a rung down as like for popularity and album sales compared to, of course, Green Day, the Donnas. But I was just wondering if it would have been the Donnas reuniting to play this show, this would be a whole different conversation.
I know that there was a cover song that the singer was on since quarantine started. I remember sending that to you.
Yeah.
And she like recorded her piece in the car, it looked like. So that was cool to see her perform again. And I know she does like solo stuff here and there. But I know they're all busy they've all kind of moved on from music and they're doing other career-y things.
Yeah.
But if they ever reunited, oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
So no news announcement on that one. The Lookout show is happening without the Donnas, so I'm boohoo sad.
That's crazy. I would hope that they would at least be some sort of a presence, like emceeing it or something. Like they're like they're very one of the biggest bands on that label. That's who I think of as Lookout.
Well, when the label goes bankrupt and you don't get paid and you got all these financial issues, maybe you feel like you don't owe anybody a favor.
That's true.
To play their Zoom show for $50 or whatever you're going to get.
Yeah.
And like a real gig for real money, maybe it would be different. I don't
Yeah.
know. And they were off of Lookout. Oh, I would like to say as soon as they could get off of Lookout. But now they think about it, they did stick around on Lookout for probably at least an album or two longer than they needed to, as far as getting opportunity to have a major label deal. The Donnas were never one of those bands that were like, we want to stay underground and F the man. They all said from the get-go, we want to be humongous, big rock stars.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I'm like, well, maybe that's why they're not playing Lookout, Zoomout as well. But they're still one of my favorite bands.
Yeah. I was thinking about all these streams today, and I was thinking, I think bands should keep streams even when touring becomes a thing, because I didn't think about it, but it's just so much easier for people in countries where they can't come, or in the middle of nowhere. Like, we live in an area where most bands, like 99.7% of the time, a band I want to see will stop within an hour and play a show within an hour of me. But that's not the reality for the rest of America and the world. And also financially, it's really hard for people in certain countries to afford to go to a show. Yeah. So I think that bands should really think about that becoming something they do, not like constantly, but like maybe once a year or something like that, do a show, because there's all these people all over the world that would love to go see them, and they just can't. And I don't know, maybe they can do payments based on whatever country you're from, because, you know, depending on what your $5 is not a lot of money here, but it is a lot of money in some parts of the world and stuff like that. So I think, and also just getting like transportation and
I think it'll, if there's a way to make a buck, people are gonna, now that they know they can make a buck, then I think it's coming. It will be, if you want to go to the concert, pay $80. If you want to stream it, $25 or something like that.
Oh yeah,
they'll do something.
Yeah, you're right, because they don't even have to. They don't even have to do specific streams. They can just stream a show that they're already playing. That's what I'm thinking.
I was just like, like, you're playing a big, if you're playing a big venue with a professional sound system, and you can just send the stream, and you can make an extra 10 grand a night. You're gonna do it.
Yeah, why not?
Now that we know it can be done.
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't a thing. Before, but now it is. So yeah. Well.
And I mean, there's so many reasons. Like some people have kids and they can't go to shows. Some people don't have transportation. Some people's parents don't want to let them go to shows. Like, whatever. There's like a million reasons why you want to go see a show and you can't. And I think they should do that. And it's best. It's good for everybody. It's good for the fans. It's good for the band.
Yeah. And also we got new shows, new music. The big one, AFI, Twisted Tongues 2-song EP. What? AFI, they're like, I think of it as a blood band. It's a band that's in your blood, because they're just part of your life inextricably. They're just there. They're going to be there. Like, there was a 5-year time period where AFI, in my mind, was untouchable. Best live band, best music, best everything in the world. 5 years. That's about, and then all of a sudden they changed, and I'm not as into it anymore. So ever since that change, which is like Sing the Sorrow for me, AFI has been getting crap about changing their sound every album that they've ever had. So everyone has their album that's an AFI fan where they go, they were great up until insert album here, and there's just so many.
That's true.
I remember even back then in like the early 2000s, people were like, AFI was great until Black Sails.
And I'm like,
Black Sails is their best album. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
People? And they're like, I knew that they were good before they put out Answer That. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That was the album. Like, that's the point. This is so crazy. Like, then now there's people
you're right. Every album,
any album, they were good until they got on Nitro. Stuff like there's some crazy AFI. I hate AFI at this point, and I guess mine is Sing the Sorrow is the last album where I paid attention. Yeah, and I was like, I can't. This is not punk enough for me. But like I said, they're in my blood. So new EP comes out and I know it. It's not going to be hardcore AFI. You have to mentally prepare yourself. What am I going to get this time? How much new wavy, how much electro pop, and how much is this going to sound like black audio? And that's basically the way I see it now is AFI is black audio.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts?
100. I 100% agree with you. I listened to the 2 new songs and I thought they could just as easily be black audio songs as AFI. And then I was thinking about it more and I'm like, man, from kind of, some streams they've done and just hearing them talk in interviews before, the guys in AFI have such crazy knowledge of music, like encyclopedias music. Like they know so much about entire genres where I just know just like basics or I know of the genre. Yeah. So it's not surprising to me that they changed their style so much because they're just like really good musicians who can do all kinds of genres and they have inspiration and knowledge about different genres. And also I think I'm wondering if they're just releasing this to tease. Like at first I was thinking these are the best songs because they're releasing them first. But now I'm thinking they're not the best songs because I think that they just wanted to get on people's radars. And I think the better songs on this album are not released yet. That's my new theory.
I think that's a good analysis. Now that you mention it, it makes perfect sense to me. The songs weren't catchy. I would say, it's not that I dislike
these are not singles.
No, it's like 80s electro poppy. They've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's not like I dislike it. It's just it's AFI, knowing what they're capable of and what they're doing. And then I get disappointed. But the songs are fine. But I think, like you said, the singles and whatnot will be coming later. And they have a new album that is going to be coming out. And this is just a tease. Yeah.
I feel like, at first I thought these would be the singles. But now I'm like, no. They're trying to hype this album. Like on January 1st, all of the band members posted like a teaser that music is coming. Then they released these songs. They're just kind of building awareness for the new album. And so I'm going to remain positive that the rest of the album will be a little bit more rocking. Like this was.
Oh, come on now. That is wishful thinking.
I know.
It's not going to be. The songs might be better than these two. These songs are fine. They're not great. They're just decent songs. I was going along with you that they will have better songs on this album, and I might even like the album, but more rocking. I think AFI is done with rocking. Like I don't think there's going to be any rocking. And it's hard. It's one of your favorite bands. One of your favorite hardcore punk bands is not going to rock at all ever again. Like I'm thinking AFI is done with rock. Like they don't care about it. They have nothing to do with it anymore. And it's my problem to deal with that. Not their problem. They've let it be.
Life has been rough. Life has been rough. But they have. Yeah. And they have such a loyal fan base that like there's nothing like they can put out a rap album and people will buy it and say it's the best thing ever.
Well, no kidding.
They can do anything.
I just said I don't like this stuff at all in the slightest, and I would never get near it with a 10-foot long pole. Yet here it is. This band is one of my favorite bands of all time, and like every good thing about my life happened in that 5-year span with this band, and now it's like it's all garbage.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, I still had all those good times.
Yep. Hey,
everyone's in the same.
I bought $90. Yeah, and I bought $90 of AFI merch in quarantine.
Oh, wow.
So far. I told you they re-released Art of Drowning merch, and I just went crazy. I just went crazy on it.
Well,
so it's rough. I don't know.
I guess
they're still good live. I mean, I'm hoping there's some songs I like more.
I think that's going on too far also.
I guess it's gone too far.
Well, they don't play a damn song that I like anymore. So I mean, it's slowly over the year because I still see them. So slowly over the years, they just take away more and more songs I like out of their set list. Like, you know how we talk about NoFX?
Okay, but here's
a big deal about NoFX taking out Linoleum. That's one song. AFI has taken out 6 to 7 albums completely.
Yeah.
They don't fit in the show.
Okay, but here's
I understand it. You cannot play those songs. You can't play like Secret Ninja. Like you can't play Secret Ninja. You can't. They just don't fit. And if you're playing in a big old arena with thousands of people, these 1 minute long hardcore songs, they sound terrible over the sound system anyway. So I get it. They got to get rid of it. It's just when you said they're still good, I'm like, okay. If you like AFI, what's the Bunny album? If from
December
the Bunny
Underground.
December. If you like that album, they're still good live because they still will play the Bunny album.
When I'm saying I think the rest of the songs will be good or better, I'm thinking there will be like December Underground. That's what my
okay. I agree with
that's what I'm thinking. But I actually like December Underground.
No, the music, the songs, I'm willing to say it's somewhat good. It's just that
it's not your thing.
What if AC/DC put out a great classical music album? Like, you would still be like, why is AC/DC putting out a classical music album? Like a John Williams soundtrack. And that's what I think of when AFI is playing electro pop and 80s new wave, even though they've always, from the beginning, they've always said how they love that music, blah, blah, blah. But nevertheless, you were so good at other things that sound so much better than me, yet your focus is to ditch that stuff completely and embrace this other stuff that you hated. It was the reason you started the band in the first place, is because you can't stand this other music, but now you're just playing that music. But
here's a question for you. Okay. Would you rather a band you like change their genre, like they went from like pop, from hardcore to synth pop or whatever, but they made good music? Or would you rather they go the Offspring route where they're still in the rock genre and they're writing Defy You?
Oh man, that is a good question. Whoa.
Because I would rather, and I'm thinking about it, I think I'd rather they make good music that's not punk than make bad punk music. That's my inclination on that. But everybody's opinion is different.
I mean, you make a strong argument in favor of AFI the way they're doing things now.
Yeah.
I can't argue with it because I guess you're right. I would rather have it be good. So I'm willing to give them it's just so hard to do that for me personally, because I think of the Yeah Yeah Yeahs as a band I think of that changed their sound, which let me down so much. Tegan and Sarah, they did the same thing. So it's like whenever a band changes too much, I'm usually disappointed because the songs that they're making that are replacing it aren't good. But if you were saying if it was actually good, then okay. You know, if Yeah Yeah Yeahs put out a synth pop album that I liked, I would go along with it, even though it's not as, I'm never going to like it as much as the Fever to Tell.
Right.
I just think Fever to Tell is an awesome album. And I just have the brain where I'm like, if you're really good at something, why don't you do that thing? Why are you, but here's something that is not as good and we're going to focus on that. I'm like, no, that's a bad decision. I'm very judgmental. Anyway.
Well, I mean, I think that's the problem is AFI is good at all these different genres. Like, that's why, like, and they listen to so many different genres in their spare time, it seems like. So it's like, and they're really good musicians. So it's like, they could make a good album in any genre, I'm convinced. Like, they could almost do a good polka album or something. I don't know. Like, they could do it. So
I will make a commitment.
It's hard.
I will make a commitment to listen to the album with an open mind that even though I know it's not going to be anything I like, the album might still be good and grow on me into liking it.
Yeah, and
it's like happened with some bands.
Talk about. Yeah, and
not
I mean,
impossible.
Every week we talk about this, but it's like bands do change. I mean, AFI started this band when they were teenagers. They're like middle-aged men now. Like they don't have the angry, hardcore, maybe like they're comfortable, they're living comfortable lives now. It's kind of hard to be angry when you're just kind of doing yoga in your nice,
that's true,
house or whatever. Like it wouldn't necessarily be authentic. Like I'm not for bands changing sound, but at the same time, if that is more authentic, I am for that, because it would be crazy if Davey was singing about his mom not letting him get tattoos at this point in his life, or a mohawk or whatever, right? Like, or if he still talked about skateboarding, when I don't know if he does that. It seems like he does other things now or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, people do kind of change. We like different things than what we did as teens too. So, I mean, it sucks. I'm not like happy about it.
If it's their authentic selves and they're not chasing the modern sound, there's a chance that it will be good. It's if they're chasing the modern sound, it's going to be garbage. I remember Spotify said Smashing Pumpkins has a new album. It was like a couple months ago. And I was like, oh, Smashing Pumpkins. I like Smashing Pumpkins. And then I listened to it. I'm like, what the hell did I just listen to? I didn't even bring it up at this show because I hated it. I hated it. Like Billy Corgan knows how to play the guitar like a very good guitar player. There's no guitar on the album. What are you doing? So like you said, as long as you're not chasing the modern, because he's chasing the modern sound, man.
Yeah, and we know that, there's, and you've seen those bands, right? That when like they would be, oh, Ska's big. We have ska songs. Oh, Screamo's big now. Like we have Screamo. And it's like, when it's not authentic. It's like, it comes off as crazy when one, your sound changes that drastically and there's no consistency at all or whatever. But I think it's okay. I'm much more accepting of artists changing because I realize all of us change as the years go by. There's tons of things I do now or like now that I never thought I would or whatever. And as long as it's authentic and they like it, it's going to be better than them just trying to be like, oh, what are the kids into? I'm going to do that. Like,
agreed. All right. Well, we got more new music.
We got a couple more songs.
Things. Hail the Sun, song Domino. I thought it sounded exactly like, oh my God, they just slipped my mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're
introduce it.
Oh, Coheed and Cambria. Yes.
Oh, Jake, show me a code.
I have not heard of Hail the Sun, and I'm surprised because that's kind of my sort of thing. And it's a post-hardcore band. They're from Chico, California. They've been around for like decades at this point. I don't know. They never got on my radar. And I heard the track and I was thinking, oh my God, this is Coheed and Cambria. Like they could totally.
When you sent me the track, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, is this a new side project from the singer of Coheed and Cambria? I had to go look it up. And I'm like, no, that's the band.
It totally sounds, but the song is Domino. So if you like Coheed and Cambria, check it out. I liked it. It was a good track. And then we have a new track from Descendants. That's The Breaks. And it's about Twitter trolls.
Yeah, it's like less than a minute long.
Yeah.
And at first I listened to it and I was wondering if this was about the president. Is this about the president tweeting and they're against it? But so I actually had to go look up the lyrics, which I never do.
Oh, okay.
Because usually it's the last thing I'm paying attention to for whatever reason. But this is what I'm like, okay, I'm going to look. And I don't think it is. It's just about internet trolls.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting.
It's like cancel culture, I think that's what it's about. It's about people complaining on Twitter to cancel people and how that's a bad thing or something. That was my takeaway after reading the lyrics to make sure I had some context about what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting topic, so I'm intrigued what brought that on.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was about the president at first.
Yeah, because it sounds like
so, though.
Something happened and you were like, that's it, I'm writing a song. That's what the song sounds like. Like, it wasn't like, oh, you've been sitting on this idea for a year and a half while you write the... No. This was like, I'm pissed, I'm writing a song, let's record it, let's go.
Yes, I exact same thought here.
Yeah.
And I would be interested to know exactly. Maybe there'll be an interview and we could figure it out.
That's a good idea. We'll ask them.
Or we'll ask them. We'll get
No
this.
problem. We'll get to
I just
this.
heard it, it just came out, so these were our initial thoughts.
But yeah, it's a good, fast song. It's a fun track.
Yeah, it's cool that Descendants are still making good. We talk about bands that aren't changing, or
That's
bands that do. Man, Descendants, they sound exactly the same as they did.
do.
They've always sounded the same. This
And
album could have been on any of their albums. I mean,
I like how their logo and their album artwork is just consistent through the years too. So that's cool.
See, that makes me happy as long as, like we're talking about, if the standard of quality remains high, you can do the same shit over and over again. And I will find it fine. I will love it forever. But you're right. If it gets crappy, like I'm willing to go one or two derivatives of the original and still be okay with it. It's like, it's never going to be as good as the original, but it's like a second rate. I'm like, okay, that's okay. And then there's like one level, I'm like, well, that's acceptable. It's a third rate version of your good song. Mm-hmm. And then there's that fourth derivative where that's my cross the line. Now you suck. This is defy you.
So this makes me wonder, and I don't have the answer, but what I'm wondering is like, why do some bands stay kind of the same through the years? And same for people who are not in bands, right? Like you have people who sometimes I'll have coworkers that be like, oh yeah, I used to listen to punk and now I listen to whatever else. And some people are in it, some people are lifers and some people are not. And I don't know how or why that happens. So I am curious as to why. Because Bad Religion's been playing music longer than AFI. They're not making synth albums, right? Like they're lifers for whatever reason. And AFI is not. And they've changed. So it's like, it's interesting to me, but I don't know how or why that happens.
Neither do I.
Do you have a grudge this week?
I'm just really tired. I didn't want to go into it. I'm too tired to even get into it.
Wow. My grudge this week is my dog's food has been sold out everywhere for like the last week and a half. So it's become annoying.
Yeah, that's happened to me too.
Yeah.
I've had to switch brands of dog food in the middle.
for your dog.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah. So I'm like at this point calling the pet store every couple of days and it's still not in stock. So I don't know.
You might have to switch.
I know. So it's annoying. So I'm annoyed about it. And it doesn't even have to be dog food. Sometimes you use something that you like and then it works for you. And then all of a sudden it's gone or it's discontinued.
Yep.
And then you have to find a new thing and it sucks.
A good grudge.
And I think that about wraps it up for this
That does
episode.
wrap it up.
Yep. Follow us on Instagram at Almost Punk. Send us email, almostpunkpod@gmail.com. If you have any requests or if you want to share any new music with us, we'll be back next time.
All right. Over and out.